Section 10.5, real estate taxes. So we're going to calculate the assessed value and real estate taxes for a home. The things that our government uses our real estate taxes for, you will have to know probably a few of these, maybe 2 or 3. Roads, government offices, schools, parks, and there's some other services. Probably don't use other services, but there's a lot of other things that you can use. So of the 4, roads, schools, parks, government, you probably have to know 2 or 3. Assessed value, the dollar value a tax assessor assigns to a property for taxation purposes. So when we moved into our home in 2001, and a person came over and walked through the house, looked at the number of bedrooms, the number of bathrooms, what's your furnace room look like, you know, all of those kinds of things. And they, even though our house was brand new, they came up with an assessed value for it. Okay, now that includes what ours is worth and what others of built in the same year around us were also assessed in value. So it's almost like an average, so to speak, but it isn't the dollar value that you paid for the home for sure. Okay, it's another number. So whether you agree with it or not, that doesn't matter. It's whatever they assign to it. Tax rate. It's often expressed in mills. Have you guys heard about mills before? A lot of times the school attaches things with mills, and that's taxes, of course. But a mill is 0.001 or 1 over 1,000. So when they give you these questions and they're going to say it's in mills, you have to convert that into dollars before you actually use it. So very easy to do that. You just divide by 1,000, or you can multiply it by 0.001, which is also 1/1000th. Super easy formulas. I'm going to go through those in a minute. Madison County tax assessor determined that the market value of Cortland Farm is $340,000. The rate of assessment is 40% of the market value. What does of mean in math? Multiply. So you already kind of have your formula without even looking at it. So 40% times the market value. So all you have to do is find out what the market value is and multiply. So the assessed value is very easy to do. We're going to take it times 40%. And that's what your taxes will be calculated from. $136,000. Second one, the tax rate as a decimal. So that's the 50.73 mils. A mil is 1/1000th. Okay, so if you take this number and divide by 1,000, that's what the tax rate as a decimal would be. It moves it to the left 3 places. So this one would be 0.05073. Now, most of the questions don't say to do that, but I know that the first one does, I think. If you look at it, number 2, I think, is the only one that does that. But just so you know how to do it when they ask that one question, I usually don't calculate out the actual decimal. I just do it within the question. The real estate tax then, looking at the formula above, says the tax rate times the assessed value. So we're going to grab our answer that we just did and multiply it times 0.05073. And that will be how much real estate tax this person would have to pay. What's the timeline, do you think, for this amount of tax? What do you think they would pay this amount of tax for? Nolan, be quiet. $6,899.28. What do you think they'd have to pay that in? A year. These are mainly annual things. Generally, you do have to pay it in a one-time thing. I think on there you can switch it to quarterly. I think, if I remember looking at ours. We usually get ours in January. I think you can do quarterly, or at least split into two. I know 2 is an option, but quarterly maybe isn't. It makes them do more paperwork because they have to send out more notices, so usually they don't do it like that. Here's the second one. The Espinosas pay $3,183.16 in annual property taxes, so they've already calculated the tax on this one. So this one is kind of a algebraic one, but it's not super hard. The rate of assessment for their tax district is 45%. Their tax rate is 46 mills. What is the market value? So take a look in your book on page 389. They've already calculated the tax. So I'm going to put that on the left. So on the right, it would be, what is the mills, which would be 0.046, or you could do 46 divided by 1,000. Those are the same. Then it says we need to multiply it times a certain amount and also times the percent. If you wanted to take this and break it into two things, you could. You could say, if you wanted to find the assessed value first, you could find that, and then you could use that answer. But you can do it all at once as well. So I'm going to multiply it times the market value as well as the percent, because that's really what we did. If you look at this question up here, we multiplied by 40%, and we also multiplied by the mills. Okay, so that's why we can do this in one step. So I'm going to put the number in, 3183.16. I'm going to divide by 0.046, hit equals, and I'm going to divide one more time by 45%. So market value, $153,775.85. Okay, so I divided by 0.046 and 45%. Okay, so on that one, not super tough, but if you multiplied for both steps on the first one, to undo that, you would divide for both steps on the second one. So there's only just a couple of those in your work. So for a quiz, I know for a fact you need to know what a mill is. So remember this. I would accept either answer, doesn't matter which. Also, make sure you know a couple of these. The rest, I think, is just following the formulas that we have. Again, the assessed value is just what they go by to figure out your taxes. It is not the value of your home. So basically, they bring it down so that everybody is taxed kind of in an equal way, according to how much your house is worth. That's it.